Hey guys, and welcome to the 6th week of the Pagnotta Take on Sports. I'm live here in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. We're on vacation with the family, so I know the video is going to be pretty bad today. It's going to be mostly audio, but I'm just going to quickly go through a couple of things. I'm only going to cover 3 topics today: the NBA Finals, the Stanley Cup Finals, and I will get into a little bit of the U.S. Open. We start with the NBA Finals. Last night, Game 6 took place, and it ended up being the last game in Cleveland. The Warriors went in there and they beat them pretty handedly. It was a good game by the Warriors. Steph Curry played well. Andre Iguodala played well, as he had been playing throughout the entire series. And, they went in there and they took down a team that I don't think was as good as them with the pieces that they had there after Kyrie went down earlier in the series. That's the thing that kind of stinks about these NBA Finals, is the fact that, Irving had to go down and Kevin Love had to go down. So, Cleveland fans will, I don't know if they'll use that as an excuse, because I think they still believe that LeBron James could have won it. But, I still think that they believe they had a chance to win these finals, and they're going to be pretty angry at the fact that they weren't able to finish it, and LeBron now drops to 2-4 in the NBA Finals, and his legacy takes a little bit of a hit. I know, you got to look at the factor of he didn't really have any help with him. The biggest help he really had all series was Timofey Mozgov, but still, to be 2-4 in finals, he's nowhere close to what MJ was at 6-0 in the finals. And for the Warriors, it really turned around. In Game 4, when they went with the smaller lineup, they started putting Draymond Green at the center, and once they put him down low and they brought in Andre Iguodala to start, the game turned around for them. They were shooting a lot better. It was a lineup they had gone with most of the season, the smaller lineup, not with Iguodala in there, but with the smaller lineup, and it ended up working out very successfully for them. And the Heat weren't able to stop the shooting that they had. The Cavaliers Heat. The Cavaliers weren't able to stop their shooting. The defense for the Cavaliers was rather poor throughout the entire time, throughout the entire series, especially 4, 5, and 6. They weren't able to close out on some of those plays that they were doing earlier in the series. Curry was really able to pretty much just use Dellavedova up. After Dellavedova went to the hospital after Game 3, that was pretty much it for Dellavedova. He basically just stopped playing after that, and you didn't really hear much from him. The shooting for Cleveland was absolutely awful, especially last night. Even LeBron was missing those threes late in the game, and the only person that really kept them in it right up until the end was J.R. Smith, but that was really just an illusion. We kind of knew that they would be able to pull it out, and I don't think the Cavaliers are going away anytime soon, and I don't think the Warriors are either. I think the Warriors, it's the start of a dynasty, and I think they've got the right pieces in place. They just got to be able to keep them there. Steph Curry, I think, is going to be there for a long time. I think Klay Thompson will be there for a long time, but they got to keep those other pieces around them that help them to win a championship. Guys like Bogut, I think, are people that you might want to let go and see if you can't get guys that can help the team a little more, because Bogut just really he's looking a lot older now, and he isn't playing up to the level that he had been playing up to. But I think they're in a good position now to compete for many years out in that Western Conference, which is saying a lot, considering that the Western Conference is pretty stacked. And as for the Cavs in the Eastern Conference, I mean, they could go with just LeBron and they'd still probably win that conference, because the Eastern Conference is absolutely terrible. I mean, there's no one in the Eastern Conference that will challenge them, and as long as LeBron stays in town, which I know all the Twitter jokes and everything like that about him maybe going back to Miami, him maybe going to Golden State, which definitely won't happen, but I think it's more likely that he's going to stay in Cleveland, and I think he really wants to go in there and complete the job next year, and I think he's definitely got a chance to do that. With Irving healthy, and if Kevin Love returns, but most people think he's going to end up moving on. But, Love wasn't really the most important piece to that team, but it would have been helpful to have in the finals. And I think, you look at guys that were definitely discovered in the series, guys like Mozgov, who, was brought over in a trade, but was kind of just a bench player, and now you can see that he can play valuable minutes, and he can knock down free throws. Tristan Thompson can be a monster on the glass, and he hadn't really fulfilled his high expectations up until this series. So hopefully he's able to get that figured out, and hopefully he's able to keep that up going into next year. And like I said, I think both of those teams are going to be good, and I think this could be a series that we could see next year. I know a lot of people are saying the Warriors are going to be just like the Thunder and kind of fade out, but I think if any team's going to fade out, it would be the Cavs, only if LeBron leaves. So the NBA season is over, as is the NHL season. That ended on Monday night. They closed out their series. Chicago went into their home arena in the United Center, and they hadn't won a Stanley Cup there since 1938. They'd won 3 cups before that. Before this time. On opposing ices, so it was good to see them go in there and win that game. It was a competitive game the entire way, as the whole series had been, and we had 1-goal games the first 5. This one wasn't. It was a 2-goal game because Brad Richards got a late goal that pretty much sealed the victory at that point for Chicago. Tampa's goal scorers were really just they were off those last couple of games. The big line that everyone had been talking about with Kucherov, Johnson, and Pagnotta had been a little bit, they've been really slow in this series. They hadn't found as much open space, and they didn't score the last 3 games of the series. Kucherov had that incident where he went into the goal post and ended up hitting his shoulder, pretty much took him out for the final game. He didn't really do a whole lot after that. So hopefully he's able to come back healthy next year. Ben Bishop was shaken up throughout the entire series. Don't know how much of a factor that really played into it, but more of the fact I think Chicago won it than Tampa lost it. I think Corey Crawford was very good in the series. He showed that the experience in the cup definitely helps. Duncan Keith won the Conn Smythe, and he played very well. His first goal of the playoffs was in the final game. He scored the first goal that became the game winner, and he is solid on the back end, as are most of their defensemen. Nicholas Hjalmarsson played a great series, and same thing with Brent Seabrook, who has always been a good defenseman on the back end and a good partner for Duncan Keith. I think of course Chicago is going to stick around for a while. They've got the stars, and they're one of the more intriguing teams to go to now in the NHL. But for Tampa, it's a little bit of a different story. It's not quite as luxurious of a place as maybe some of these other teams you can go to in hockey or even in the Eastern Conference. So if they're going to stay up there, these guys that played well throughout the playoff series have to step up. Not all these guys that played well during the playoff series were great during the regular season. Tyler Johnson, I think, is going to be a star player. I think Palat's going to be a good player, and so will Kucherov. But the rest of that team has to play like they played in the Stanley Cup Finals and in their entire run in order to stick up at the top of the Eastern Conference, because unlike basketball, the Eastern Conference is a little stronger in hockey. That's where you find the teams that you would expect to win the Cup every year. In the Western Conference, it's pretty much been ruled by LA and Chicago for about 5 or 6 years now, although I think Anaheim is going to jump up in there and be a good team. So, sticking power, I think Chicago will be up there. I think Tampa might fall down a little bit next year. Of course, I hope my Rangers are the team that's in there next year, but we've seen how we've been able to fare these last couple of years, so hopefully we're able to move on and through this offseason and pick up the pieces that we need in order to be successful. So those 2 seasons are over. Baseball is interesting right now. I mean, the College World Series is what I've been watching a little bit of. Gotta like what's going on out there in the College World Series. Some close games, couple of walk-offs that we've had already, and Vanderbilt, they've already advanced after they had that crazy win against Cal State Fullerton. That was an amazing walk-off win that they had there. So, I mean, it's been pretty thrilling. You got to look forward to the baseball season that's continuing right now. The Women's World Cup, if you're into that, not really a fan of that. But this week, there is a huge event that I am into, and I'm definitely going to watch every day of it. It is the U.S. Open from Chambers Bay. Not a real expert on that course. I don't really know a whole lot about that course. But they're saying that it is similar to links golf, which is what they play when you watch the Open Championship or over in England, any of those types of players. So you would think that those types of places, you'd think the players that are from there would be favored a little bit more. So guys like Justin Rose should be favored. Of course, Rory McIlroy is going to be a favorite to win it. Jordan Spieth, definitely a hot golfer that people want to get on the bandwagon and think he could do a really good job. Tiger Woods is always going to be up there, Phil Mickelson. But, you know, aside from them, there are dark horses that I think could end up getting in there and making a difference. I'll start with one of my dark horses. I'll give you three of them. Ian Poulter, I think that's a guy that could really be someone you got to look at. He's always played you know, average golf in the majors. He's not really the best guy, but he's the type of guy that can come out there and can really swing the golf club. You know, at times his putting can be off, but when he's on, it is hard to stop him. And you know, this is his types of golf courses. He is from England, so you would think that Poulter would have played on courses like this before. So, you know, I would say he's got to be one of those guys that you got to keep an eye on. Another one would be Paul Casey, a guy that played really, really well in the Masters. Shockingly, he was a guy that was pretty good, you know, for a stretch back in the mid-2000s, and then kind of faded out. He was never really, you know, a big-time, didn't stay up at the top. But now he's trying to get back up there. He had a great Masters, as I said, so I think, once again, he's from overseas, so I think he's going to definitely be a force in this U.S. Open. So hopefully he's able to get out there and play some good golf. I really do think he's going to have a great chance. And another guy that I would put up in there would probably be Adam Scott. You know, he's not really a dark horse. He's more of one of the well-known golfers, but he's got a good caddy, formerly Tiger Woods caddy Steve Williams. So, you know, and we've seen him have success. He won the Masters. He almost won the Open Championship a couple of years ago when Phil ended up closing it out. He just collapsed on really the, I think, last 4 holes was where his collapse began. So, you know, I think he'll be able to get up there and fight. He's always those types of guys that you got to keep an eye out for in majors. And the guy from the United States that I would say to keep an eye on, one of the guys that I think has been playing decent enough golf that I would definitely take a look at would be a guy that was up there in the Masters but didn't win it. I would say Charlie Hoffman would be a guy that's a sleeper to maybe get up there. I don't know how well he would fare at an event like this. He's never really been that great in majors, but he played very well in the Masters, was up there very high on the leaderboard the entire time, and then he's played well since. I've seen a lot of the scores since then, and Hoffman's been playing some pretty good golf. So I think, you know, he could definitely find a way to get up there. It always seems these golf tournaments, especially the first day, that we see someone up there at the top of the leaderboard that we're not expecting, a couple of names. And if he could stick up there, you just never know, you know, what could happen, especially at the U.S. Open. We've seen some crazy things happen at the U.S. Open. But the pairings that I've seen that are coming out, they are going to be sensational. So it's definitely going to be an event that if you're a golf junkie, you want to watch for. And you know, I think in the end, the winner of the tournament, I think it'll be Rory. I really do. I think he's playing great golf, and he feels like he's playing great golf. So you know, I'm just hoping for a competitive finish, because these last couple of major events, we haven't really had some extremely competitive you know, finishes down the stretch on Sundays. So hopefully it's going to be a good tournament, and hopefully we'll come out with a winner that we can be proud of. So I'm going to wrap it up, guys. I know this was a little bit of a shorter segment. I'll have a longer one, of course, next week. And we're going to start talking college football, since we're heading into the off seasons of just about everything else. I'll always touch on baseball and stuff like that, but that's what I'm going to start doing next. So I hope you guys enjoyed, and of course follow me on Twitter at Future Tar Heel, and follow me on Instagram at Anthony_Pagnotta96. Thank you guys very much.